file system. Actually, ABC was good with to deal with data and all. Okay, so but ABC was not suitable for that. So he realized that whatever the time left over to develop this utility programs, he can write his own interpreter. So he used to start writing an interpreter at his home, and he shared with his colleagues, and they also contributed and all. And finally, in 1989, it reached to some level that they can release the version. And also, we talked about he wanted to name his project as Python because he is a big fan of the comedy series called Monty's Python Flying Circus, which is a comedy series actually. So he wanted to name under him because of a couple of reasons, like he don't want to over analysis while naming a programming language, and also uh, he wanted to name whatever comes to his mind, so he named it as Python. And also, he wanted to make it as a hobby language or a language which is fun to learn. That's why he named it as Python as a project title. And then in 1989, he talked to the team people of CWI, and he decided to release the first version of Python, which is zero point 0.9, in February 1991. And the next version he released as 1.0 in 1994, and then he left this CWI and joined in another organization called CNRI in 1995. And in CNRI, he actually uh, launched a couple of versions like 1.4, 1.5, and 1.6 up to 2000. And in 2000, still actually he was thinking to release it as an open source, but CNRI did not agree to release an open source. So he was searching, he found one organization called beopen.com, which is a startup organization, and they were working on open source. So he talked to them, they agreed, and he joined in that organization along with the team. And in 2000, he released the first open source version, which is 2.0. The difference between 1.6 and 2.0 is only open source. Both the versions have the similar features and all. Then he a couple of versions he released in beopensource.com, which is 2.1 and 2.2. Then I told you that beopensource.com was lack with resources and all, so they ultimately have to shut down. So they came on road with left with system in their hands and all, but unfortunately they got a call from another startup company called Python. Where they were working on Python project, so he joined in that company and started working on Python versions. Like he released 2.3, 2.4, 2.5. Okay, and when they were releasing 2.6, he realized that there were a lot of bugs in 2.x version, and people contributed a lot, and he wanted to start another version called 3.0. So I told you 2.x version and 3.x version, they are completely different. Okay, we will talk about today how they are different from each other. And parallelly, you can see there are two different versions in Python, 2.x version and a 3.x version. So to start continuing this 3.x version, the presently we have 3.8.2 version, and in Python we have 3.7.16 or 17 version, which was released in 2020, and they stopped supporting this version because they were clearly told that they will give support to 2.x version until 2020 only. So in 2020, they stopped supporting this 2.x version, so there were no 2.x version, and we will be discussing about 3.8.2 version only. So some of you have asked like which version we will be working on. So obvious we will be teaching, or we will be learning 3.x version, not 2.x. But even I told you, for interview perspective, for interview point of view, we will also be talking about sometimes 2.x version. Whenever we require, we'll talk about this version, and we'll compare with the present version as well, because you will have a better understanding of the older version and the new version. Okay, so that's what we have discussed in the last session. Any questions? Let me check. Do you have any question regarding our last session? Okay, thank you. So I'm creating login page using Tkinter module. Ubul, I would like to answer at the end if you don't mind. Otherwise, people will get confused with the module called Kinter, and they get crazy about that, knowing about that module. Okay, so thank you, Ubul. So others having any questions? Vishwajit says no questions. Thank you. Imran says no question. Thank you, Imran. Okay, so let's get into and talk about the next concept. What we left from yesterday's session. Let us talk about like why we have to learn this programming language. Okay, why we all are here, why we all getting up at morning and learning this programming language. What is why it is so important to learn this programming language. So let me see from your point of view, like why you think that Python, why we have to learn Python? Why not other programming languages? Okay, Ubul thinks that Python is easy syntax. That's why we should learn Python. Okay, Ubul, I'll take it. Others, okay. Roshan thinks it's an open source. That's why we should learn Python. And Ubul also thinks it's an open source. So, what is an advantage of being an open source, guys? What's an advantage being an open source? Uh, Arfat also thinks it's a robust programming language. Okay, good. So you're talking about features of everyone should implement. Mani, sorry, we didn't get you. What do you mean by everyone should implement? Okay, Narendra thinks it's empower as in computing languages and Python being easy and multiple usage including data science. Okay, Narendra, less code compared to other languages. Okay, Santosh. Good. So let's take all these things, and others also should speak, guys, because if you speak, then your things gets clear. And as it is online, it should be very interactive. Okay. So it is present technology. Okay. Actually, it's not technology; it's a programming language. It's easy to access. Open source is used for we can see all the modules. Okay. The future of IT will be Python for next 20 years. Okay, Kiran has already decided that the future of IT industry will be Python for next couple of decades. Okay, thank you everyone for your point. Let me present it in some way so that you can understand why we have to learn Python. Okay, let me talk about some of the things like I'll definitely, as you all were talking about features of Python, I'll get back to that. What are the different features of Python? But let us see that after taking this course or after learning Python, what will be our future? Like Kiran were telling that it will be future for IT companies for next 20 years. So let me talk about like after learning Python, what? And also, as I have talked about our syllabus yesterday, let us see are we covering those concepts in our course or not. Okay, so let us talk about it. So basically, what do you see on the screen, guys? What do you see on screen? What do you see on screen? Okay, very good. Arfat says that you see some client server kind of thing. So you have a client and you have some server and you have database server. Okay, so in short, you see a three-tier architecture. Okay, yeah, that's Snehal, sorry. It's correct that it's a three-tier architecture. You have a client tier, you have an application server, and you have a database server. Let us talk about, as an example, let's talk about this is an Amazon application server. Okay, this is an Amazon application server. What Amazon application server will contain? It contains all the web pages related with Amazon website, right? So they deploy all the things in an web server. If it is a Facebook application server, then Facebook will deploy all its web pages in this application server, right? So for example, if user types a URL like www.amazon.com, then what happens? The request will go to that Amazon application server. Then Amazon application server will look for the startup page or the home page. If it required anything from the database to fetch up, then it talks to database. Otherwise, it simply sends you a response, which is a home page of your Amazon application server, right? So it sends you a home page which contains the different products to be displayed, their prices to be displayed and all, and a search option and everything. Then you will send a second request where you need to search for a particular product, right? You need to search for a particular product. Then again, a second request will go to this application server, and then in that application server, this time you will be searching for some product. So it will talk to database server or a data warehouse, where it will search for that particular product, and then that particular product detail will be sent to you now along with their information. It sends the product detail to you. So basically, to develop, okay, that particular web pages and all, so generally you guys will do, right? The developing that web pages and websites and talking to the database server, writing that business logic in application server. We need some programming concepts, right? So basically the guy who do that is generally called it as a web developer, right? So my question will be, the next question to all of you, like if you wanted to become a web developer, what are the technologies you should know to become a web developer? What are the technologies you should to become a web developer? Okay, very good. So basically, there will be some front-end technologies and back-end technologies, guys. There will be some front-end technologies and back-end technologies. So front-end technologies, like you will be knowing some technologies like HTML, the present version of HTML, maybe HTML5 or 5.0 or something, right? So it's getting problems. So HTML version. Oh, that's a problem with PowerPoint. That's why I use Blackboard. Okay. I hope it's work now. HTML. Okay, we have CSS, which is for cascading style sheet. Very good. We have JavaScript. Okay, I'll write in short form. JavaScript. And we have some frameworks. That's true. We have some frameworks like we have W3 CSS, we have Bootstrap for CSS. For JavaScript, we have jQuery, we have AngularJS. These particular frameworks are available for front-end technologies actually. Okay, so these all are front-end technologies. HTML, CSS, JavaScript and all. Basically, these are front-end technologies. And in server-side programming, okay, that's used to only design a web page, but to write the business logic, we need some back-end technologies actually. Okay, we need some back-end technologies. The back-end technologies like can be simple technologies, can be like PHP. Okay, or if you are a Java programmer, okay, if you are a Java programmer, you may be using something like servlets, okay, or JSP. Or if you are a C# developer, then you will be using ASP.NET. So different technologies are available for backend programming, wise to write, to design that web pages and all. But our question is, after learning Python, can you develop these websites? After learning Python, can you develop the website? Actually, yes. So Python can also be a technology for writing back server side application. So you can become a web developer after this course. Okay, and we will be talking some of the frameworks. I already talked about it yesterday. So we will be talking about some of the frameworks like Django or Flask or Web2Py or Pylon. These are the frameworks available for developing websites actually. So it's good news that after this course, like what you can be, then I can tell you, you can become a web developer. You can become web developer. To become a web developer, prerequisite, the prerequisite is you must be knowing some front-end technologies and you will be knowing Python technology. Okay, believe me, it is. I hope you have attended my workshop on Django framework because to make you understand like how beautiful Python is to write this website development, because if you go for Servlet, JSP or ASP.NET, they are complicated and they are time taking technologies to develop the website. Believe me, Python with the Django framework is so beautiful that you can easily develop website. And your very popular websites like your Instagram, your Reddit, your lot of websites has been written in Django framework, guys. Okay, they have written in Django framework. So a lot of companies are expecting you to write this develop your website using Django framework. And if you are like if you are still learning and if you are in a BTech course, okay, and you have to develop projects in your final year or third year, so mini or major projects, then obviously Python will definitely help you guys. And you see, I can see all these days because many students interact with us, they come with their doubts and all. So we see that a lot of projects they are doing on Python actually. Either as a web development, they are using Python, or for data science application, for machine learning application and artificial intelligence application, they are learning Python. Is that okay, everyone? Now, that first reason why you should learn Python, because after learning Python, if anybody here wanted to design their projects, believe me, guys, for being a computer science engineer or any sort of any stream, this is our bread and butter. This is our bread and butter, because every computer science engineer or every IT person should know how to develop a website. Without that, you cannot survive. And I think Python is the easiest way to develop a website, guys. Believe me, in couple of days, you can become a web developer. In just couple of days, you can become a web developer and you can start developing your own website. You can start developing your own website. Any questions? Any question in the first agenda of why we should learn Python? We should learn Python to become a web developer. Any questions, guys? No question from Ubul. Thank you. Everyone, please respond. Okay. Thank you, Sneha. You can type in short sentences, guys. I know sometimes chatting from your mobile phone or something will be little tedious, but you can just tell me yes or no, at least in single letter, so that way we can understand. Okay, you have no question. Okay, so Tejaswini says no question. Thank you. Sai says no question. Thank you, sir. We need to learn front-end framework for Django web development. Yeah, if you're going for complete Django web development, then you should learn some front-end technologies, Money. But otherwise, with simple basic understanding of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, it's very easy. But if you wanted to become a full-stack web developer, then obviously you should learn these things. But just writing for Python business logic, you don't need HTML, CSS, and JavaScript to write the business logic. The server-side programming, Money. If you wanted to write server-side programming, then you no need. Okay. So let me ask you next question. You know, what is an average salary of a web developer? I hope some of you already working in IT industry, so they can answer me in a better way. If not, I hope you have some idea like how much a web developer earns actually per annum. An average salary in India or in abroad. What is an average salary of a web developer, you think, guys? What do you think, Ubul? Okay. Vishwajit thinks that 5 to 15 lakhs per annum. Sir, for web development, we want learn both Django and Flask. Okay, let us see that. We will learn at least both, try to compare Django and Flask. okay, in our course. But question is like, okay, Vishwajit says that it takes 5 to 15 lakhs per annum. Okay, I do agree with Vishwajit. It's a like basically a fresher can learn 5 6 lakhs per annum, an experienced guy can learn earn 15 to 20 lakhs per annum. That's okay. Okay, as a being a web developer. But let us talk about some other people working in a company. Okay, there are some other people who works in a company, like you have data engineers, you have data scientists, and you have data analyst. Okay, so these guys are playing a very important role these days for writing some data science application or machine learning application and artificial intelligence application. So these people have a big demand these days, and this course is all about to make you understand what is data engineer, what is data scientist, and what is data analyst. So let me start with a question. Like, can you guess now, Vishwajit, how much a data scientist will earn now? I'll talk about all these things, Obul. So I'll start with my question. Like, what do you think a data scientist will earn? What do you think a data scientist will earn? So Obul thinks it will earn 12 lakhs per annum. Vishwajit thinks that it will earn 8 to 39 lakhs per annum. Imran thinks that it earn 20 lakhs per annum. Okay, I'll show you a paper cut, guys. Okay, which I have took when I started teaching data science. Now it is much more. I can show you a Times of India paper, and you can see here data scientists now earn more than a CS, chartered accountants. They says that those with 5 years experience can make 75 lakhs plus per annum, guys. It's 100% true. Yeah, thank you, Arfat. But it's a highest paid in your company actually. That's true. You can see here they can earn 75 lakhs per annum, guys. And can you earn such kind of salary? Of course, yes. Of course, yes, because I told you a fresher these days earning 40 lakhs, which was actually Vishwajit was almost close. For the fresher, I have seen people, my students, join in some companies where they are earning 40 lakhs per annum because the only reason is they know Python and they can write some data science application, guys. So they are highest paid. And that's why we all are here, so that we also get high paid person. Okay, understood everyone? This is the second most reason, and important reason is the salaries will be the main reason, right? So you should learn a programming language which will help you to earn much. Like learning C, learning Java, and getting paid some 10 lakhs and per annum and all is okay. But learning a programming language which can make you earn a very high salary, obviously, it will be a big reason. Okay, so let us talk about little bit like what data engineers do and what data scientists will do and what data analysts will do. Okay, let us talk about it. And also, yeah, of course, Akash, of course. I'll tell you, I'll give you some application. You will realize that what I shown you a paper cut is required no degree actually. Meaning, we don't require any specific degree. Okay, not only BTech, I told you the artists are learning Python. Okay, to make animation and all. Okay, they are learning Python. The medical peoples are learning Python. Okay, and all the non-technical people also learning Python. Mathematicians are shifting it to Python. And US, you can see that most of the people have been shifted to AI and ML, artificial intelligence and machine learning, because artificial intelligence and machine learning is everywhere, guys. So obviously data science will be important, but still if you become a data science, you need to be a, you should know web development money, because web developer can fetch you. It's a hot cake earlier, but now data science is the hot cake. So you should be a data scientist. If you wanted to choose a career between a web developer and a data scientist, it should be a data scientist. But you cannot become a data scientist without a knowledge of a little bit of web development, because data scientists will definitely do data mining, data analysis, and reporting, but they sometimes also need to have a knowledge of website development and all. Yeah, that's true, Ubul. I also told you that an age, not only 10th class student, I told you that I asked you to visit the interview of Gudo van Rassam, and also do some research on PSF, Python Software Foundation. They are conducting some workshops like PyCons, where they teach this Python programming language for the students of age 12 and 13. Okay, they are learning Python. So that's why I told you this is a language for the people who want to grow with and who wanted to get perfectionist. So it's a language for both. And why we are talking about Python now? Because for web developer you have many options, guys. You can learn PHP, you can learn Java, you can learn C sharp, you can learn other programming languages. But for writing data science application, the only language available for you is Python. The only language available you is Python. Okay, you wanted to write all artificial intelligence and machine learning application. You wanted to write artificial intelligence and machine learning application, you require Python. You cannot write in C language, you cannot write it in Java, you cannot write it in other language, because they are not good to talk with that particular systems and all. So Python is the only language available, or the popular language for artificial intelligence and machine learning and data science application, guys. So there's no other option. If you wanted to become a data scientist and you want to earn a huge salary, the only option is to learn Python. Okay, I think this is the biggest reason we learn Python. We'll talk about it, why it's popular and all. We'll talk about it. And sir, data scientists require math expert as well. Yes, Snehal, we required some mathematics concept, but not much. Everyone can learn about it. Let's talk about it. Before Python, there were other programming languages as well, like R and SAS and all. R was the very popular in the early days, because it is a statistical language, is meant for statistics actually. But because of Python popularity and number of modules available in Python, and Python support towards data science and all, make Python so popular. One of the reason why Python is popular is because with the help of Python, you can write AI and ML application. Let us talk about what are the applications of Python. Then you will understand. So let me talk about applications now. Okay, so that you can understand that why Python is so popular. So let me talk about some of the applications. Okay, applications in AI and ML, artificial intelligence and machine learning. Okay, let me talk about some of the application. So for AI needs web development skills as well. Satyam, little bit, not much, but I told you, being a IT person, web development is our bread and butter, guys. You should know how to design a website. Okay, you will understand